Welcome back, mystery lovers, to another gripping episode of Crime and Mystery Cases. Today, we delve into a case that left an entire community in shock and terror, but thanks to the relentless efforts of the police, the culprit was finally brought to justice. This is the story of the Midnight Stalker, the capture of Jacob Martin. It was a quiet, peaceful town until the summer of 2012. In the small town of Greenvale, residents enjoyed a close-knit community where everyone knew each other. Nestled in the picturesque countryside, Greenvale was known for its friendly neighborhoods, local festivals, and a general sense of security. But that summer, the peace was shattered by a series of terrifying events that would leave a permanent mark on the town's history. It all started on a warm June evening. Sarah Mitchell, a beloved local high school teacher, was walking home from a late night at the school. She never made it home. Sarah was adored by her students and respected by her colleagues. Known for her dedication to her students and her involvement in community activities, she had a bright future ahead of her. But it was cruelly cut short. The next morning, Sarah's body was found in a deserted alleyway, a stone's throw from the bustling main street. The town was in shock. How could something so horrific happen in their safe little town? The discovery of Sarah's body marked the beginning of a nightmare. Over the next few weeks, more women went missing under similar circumstances. Each disappearance sent waves of fear through the community. The media dubbed the unknown perpetrator the Midnight Stalker. Fear gripped the town as residents locked their doors and windows, and the once bustling streets emptied at nightfall. Parents kept their children indoors, and the local businesses saw a sharp decline in customers after dark. The sense of unease was palpable, with whispers and worried conversations filling the air. The police were under immense pressure to solve the case. The initial investigation turned up little evidence, and the community's trust in law enforcement began to waver. Rumors and speculations spread like wildfire, with everyone suspecting their neighbors and friends. The atmosphere was tense and fraught with suspicion. Detective Laura Benson led the investigation. She was a seasoned officer with a reputation for solving difficult cases. Benson, known for her keen intuition and unwavering determination, and her team worked around the clock, sifting through every piece of evidence and interviewing anyone who might have seen something. They discovered a pattern. All the victims were last seen walking home alone at night. The team theorized that the Midnight Stalker was someone familiar with the town's layout and routines. But without solid evidence, they were at a standstill. Detective Benson knew they needed a breakthrough, and fast. With little physical evidence, the investigation turned to forensic technology. They meticulously analyzed every piece of evidence, hoping for a breakthrough. It was a single hair found on one of the victims that finally led them to a suspect. The hair was carefully preserved and sent for DNA analysis. The hair matched a profile in the national database. The DNA analysis pointed to Jacob Martin, a 35-year-old man with a previous record of assault. He lived alone on the outskirts of town and had always been seen as an outsider. His solitary nature and mysterious comings and goings had always made him a topic of quiet conversation among the townsfolk. Detective Benson knew they had to move carefully. They began surveilling Martin, hoping to gather more evidence before making their move. During this period, they discovered Martin had been seen in areas where the victims were last spotted. Interviews with local residents revealed that Martin often watched people intently, his gaze lingering longer than comfortable. Martin's behavior was erratic. He often took long, aimless walks late at night, disappearing into the shadows and reappearing hours later. The police watched him closely, documenting his movements and interactions. They noticed he had a peculiar interest in the areas where the victims had disappeared. The investigation also uncovered disturbing details about Martin's past. He had grown up in a troubled household, with a history of neglect and abuse. These traumatic experiences had shaped his worldview, leading to his antisocial behavior and violent tendencies. The police built their case, collecting enough evidence to secure a warrant. Finally, with everything in place, they prepared for the raid on Martin's home. The tension was palpable. They knew this was their best chance to catch the Midnight Stalker. In the early hours of the morning, a SWAT team moved in. The raid was swift and precise. What they found inside was chilling. Martin had kept souvenirs from his victims, personal items that linked him to each crime scene. Among the evidence were photos, jewelry, and even clothing items from the victims. This confirmed their worst fears and provided the concrete evidence needed to charge Martin. The police also found detailed journals where Martin had documented his crimes, describing in graphic detail how he chose his victims and carried out the attacks. The journals provided a harrowing insight into Martin's twisted mind, revealing his meticulous planning and lack of remorse. Jacob Martin was arrested and charged with multiple counts of kidnapping and murder. During interrogations, he confessed to the crimes, revealing a deeply troubled mind and a dark past that led him to commit these horrific acts. Martin described a childhood marred by abuse and neglect, which he claimed had twisted his sense of right and wrong. The community of Greenvale could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The nightmare was over, and justice had been served. Detective Benson and her team were hailed as heroes for their unwavering dedication and hard work in solving the case. The arrest of Jacob Martin brought a sense of closure to the victims' families and the entire community. Memorial services were held for the victims, where townspeople gathered to remember and honor those who were lost. The services were somber yet filled with an outpouring of support, as the community sought to heal from the trauma. The case also highlighted the importance of forensic science in modern policing. The single hair that linked Martin to the crimes was a crucial piece of evidence that might have been overlooked in the past. Advances in DNA technology and meticulous investigative work had made it possible to bring a dangerous criminal to justice. Detective Benson continued her work, inspired by the success of this case to bring justice to more victims. She often spoke at community events, advocating for safety and awareness, ensuring that the lessons learned from the Midnight Stalker case were never forgotten. Her dedication to her work served as an inspiration to her colleagues and the community. In the aftermath, Greenvale worked hard to rebuild its sense of security. Community programs were established to increase awareness and vigilance. Neighborhood watch groups were formed, and self-defense classes were offered to residents. The town was determined not to let fear rule their lives. Local schools and organizations also took proactive steps to educate people about personal safety and the importance of looking out for one another. Workshops and seminars were held to equip residents with the skills to protect themselves and their neighbors. While the scars of the past may never fully heal, the capture of Jacob Martin restored peace to the town of Greenvale. The story of the Midnight Stalker serves as a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, but also of the resilience and strength of a community united against fear. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most harrowing yet inspiring cases of crime and justice. If you found this story compelling, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more real crime and mystery cases from around the world. Until next time, stay safe and stay vigilant. Goodbye. See you in the next episode of Crime and Mystery Cases.